Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition of 904 Prowl, the home of the Jaguars on the United Football Media YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, everything. You know what to do. Get locked into the Jags. Week 1, it's over. The table setter. 31-21 over the Colts in Indianapolis against Anthony Richardson on his debut. Trivia question, because I really believe Anthony Richardson is going to be the real deal. The trivia answer is, did he win or lose? He lost to Trevor and the boys. Trevor went 24 of 32, 241, 2 touchdowns and interception. He made the throws when he needed to make the throws. When the offense was in a lull, so was Trevor. He was supported by, obviously, Calvin Ridley, 8 catches, 101 yards, a touchdown. He had 11 targets. Kind of quiet second half, but it'll grow. We all know it'll grow. ETN, 18 carries, leading rusher, 77 yards, touchdown. The game closing, shut the door. Time to go home, warm up the bus, get the plane going. Touchdown, where he bounced to the outside, and ETN just did his ETN things. You know what I mean? Zay Jones with the great catch in the back corner of the end zone. 5 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Fun fact, Zay Jones has been on the team for 2 years. They are 4-0. 4 wins, 0 losses when Zay Jones catches a touchdown. Think about that. Everyone talks about Christian Kirk being the 2 guy, and Kirk had a quiet day, and Kirk's very talented. But Zay Jones seems to be the guy that when he's going, the offense is going. And they're 4-0, right? He's only been around for 18 games. He had the big game against Cowboys, obviously. Everyone remembers that. But every time he catches the ball, 4 out of 18, that means 1 out of 4 games since he's been here. He's acclimated himself to the offense. When he catches it, a touchdown, the Jags look unbeatable. Simple. When you have that third option, especially now that you got Calvin Ridley, and we talked about it last week. Calvin Ridley was awesome this week. He took over that second quarter. But the offense kind of floated along, and that's part of the luxury of having a very talented team, is sometimes they can fall asleep at the wheel and still be able to recover. And I really feel that good teams do this. And yes, I know it's week 1. And yes, I don't know if they're a great team yet or a Super Bowl contending team like everyone's projecting them to be. But this team kind of felt like a team that was in control the entire game. It was 31-21, right? If you don't have the double fumble, the defense only gave up 14 points. Talking about defense had a bunch of studs, right? Right, Josh Allen, let's talk about it. The 904 Prowl player of the game was Josh Allen. 10 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 total tackles for loss. Fun fact, they're 5-1 when he gets multiple sacks in his career. When Josh Allen gets to the quarterback, they win. They're 6-3 when he gets multiple tackles for loss in his career. So when Josh Allen's hunting people down, prowling among the jungle, and he gets people at the line of scrimmage and behind it, the Jags are a better team. So we learned a couple things. Zay Jones catches touchdowns. They're all right. Josh Allen gets to guys behind the line of scrimmage. They're all right. Football is really a game of it's a simple chess game, right? It's complicated, obviously, but it's very simple to understand. You score touchdowns and you prevent scoring, you're going to win. So you need your best players to score touchdowns and prevent scoring. And Josh Allen did his part this week. Anyone who watched the game saw, yes, the 3 sacks weren't like pretty sacks where the quarterback's looking for the ball and boom, hit him on the back and cause a fumble and everything. Anthony Richardson's a tough guy to sack. Even in game 1 of his career, he's a tough guy to sack. We need to realize that Josh Allen is a key cog on this defense and has a big contract coming up. And if he's on pace for a monster season right now, right? Defensive player of the generation type of season. I know it's week 1. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Alukin had 13 tackles. He's a tackle machine. The Yale product is absolutely sideline to sideline, up, down, left, right. He just is your middle linebacker, and he's key. And when you're playing in this 3-4 defense, this hybrid defense, you need a linebacker that just finds the ball carrier and tackles him, and Alukin does it. Cisco was a stud out back, 10 tackles. Cisco is slowly becoming a top safety in the league. Maybe not slowly in the sense that the national media might start following him. He's not a ball hawking guy. He's just laying lumber. He's a woodsman. He just taking boom, gonna hit him. He's a machine. Special teams, Agnew, obviously the field changing punt return in the 4th was a game changer, right? The 48-yard return, he gets the ball deep inside their own territory, and he gets it across midfield, and the offense is like, oh, we can do this. All right, let's go. And Agnew's always been that spark plug. I know he struggled a little bit last season, but the year before, Urban's disastrous season, Agnew was a stud as a returner. And if with the NFL taking away the special teams being so special, especially on the kick return, the punt return is very, very important to be able to switch the field and switch momentum real quick. And Agnew is perfect for it. Absolutely perfect. So those are my studs, right? Now it's on to the offensive line. The offensive line was shaky at best. Was absolutely shaky at best. The PFF grades don't look pretty. They really don't. Walker Little was the best one. In fact, if you rank the 11 starters, the offensive line is the bottom 4. Christian Kirk, who only had 1 catch on 3 targets, I believe, graded higher than the offensive line. Walker Little was good in pass blocking, 76 in pass blocking. He's the only one to receive a PFF grade above 68. I know PFF's not the end-all be-all, but it's tough to get stats sometimes on the offensive line. So you go off of that PFF grade, and that PFF grade tells you how they're really doing. Yes, it does have some kind of opinion in it. But in those situations, was the team successful? That carries a lot of weight into it, and it kind of matches up. It's not a perfect score, but you can't tell me by watching the Colts game that offense line was solid, because it wasn't. It was very average at best. Yes, the Colts have 2 of the best D tackles in the league. Yes, their front 7 is very, very good. But for this team to take it to the next level with the ambitions and the expectations that are coming along with this Jags team, they need that offensive line to continue to grow. Some people say Schreff, who was banged up, is really important. And yes, I know he's a veteran. He's been there for a minute. But to tell you the truth, if you look at the PFF grades, Shatley had about the same amount of snaps, and Shatley performed better in the pass block. Run block, Schreff was better. So which one do you want? Which do you want to be better at, pass blocking or run blocking? Because those are the 2 at the guard position. Schreff, we don't know his injury status. We'll get it. I'm filming this on Wednesday. I know it's going to come out on Thursday, but we won't have the game status report yet from the Jags. But he's probably banged up, and definitely a position to watch out for. Do they need more offensive line help? I think every team will say they need more offensive line help. The offensive line just needs to gel and continue to grow in this long season. It's only week 1. But the offensive line didn't stand out. Now they got to go find Chris Jones, right? Who just came back with the Chiefs, and we'll touch more on the Chiefs on the next episode. But the offensive line was very, very average. Blah. Nothing. And that kind of contributed to the offense feeling blah, nothing. But when that offense was cooking, man, that looked good. That Calvin Ridley drive, that's what I'm going to call it, where Trevor just kept going to Calvin Ridley, and then he spins back, goes to the other side of the field, and boom, finds him in the back of the end zone. And then the next possession, or 2 possessions after that, they go down and get Zay Jones in the back of the end zone. The offensive line was protected. Schreff was out there. So take it for what it's worth. I'm contradicting myself. I understand that. It's week 1. There's going to be a lot of contradictions here because we have so much to see, right? But Shatley did all right coming back in. There wasn't a drop-off when Schreff was there or Shatley. I'm interested to see how they go about with this offensive line. I hope Schreff is healthy because I think he could be very valuable in the guard situation. And the interior line, it seems like Walker Little will be fine out there on the left tackle. Get that interior line. Now you have an offensive line going. Anton Harrison, the rookie, right? It's his first game. I'm not going to put any expectations on him. He did all right. He wasn't the greatest. He wasn't the worst on the offensive line, but he did all right. So that offensive line just got to continue to grow. I know I've been talking about offensive line now for 3 minutes, and that's not the most glamorous podcast out there, but when it comes to the offense, that is the problem. Not the problem, but the biggest area of improvement to look for. On defense, the biggest area to look for is just consistency in the D-line. The D-line played all right. And it's kind of how the defense is designed. The D-line kind of just holds the 5. If those 3 up front can hold the 5, we can get Josh Allen on the edge, Trayvon Walker with a sack. And that's kind of what they're going for. A lot of zone this week, which was interesting to me. I think it fits the profile of the team. But there's a lot of zone and defense. Jenkins struggled a little bit on coverage. And I think he'll just continue to grow. I think the secondary will be fine. We look forward to, Cisco and Williams. Herndon had an interception. I'm just looking down my notes, and like every guy had a pretty good moment. But I definitely would like to see the defensive line pressure a little bit more. Maybe not have to take. I love Josh Allen hitting the quarterback, obviously, and creating. And as I said, they're very good when he gets multiple sacks, and they're very good when he gets multiple tackles for loss. So him being behind the line of scrimmage is important. I would just like to see some from that front 3 get to him, so you don't have to send 5. Sometimes they were sending Trayvon and Allen at the same time with the 3 guys, and you're sending 5 to go on 5. You want to take advantage of those numbers so you can get more in coverage. So I just feel that if you can get there with 4 against those 5 or maybe 6 if the running back's there or a tight end or whatever, if you put pressure on the quarterback, make them feel uncomfortable, it doesn't even have to be a sack. It just has to make you feel uncomfortable. On the next episode, I'll come through my uncomfortable stat that I kind of go by, and I'll break it down and see how they did and see what they need to do against, the best offense in the game, the defending champs, the best team that took the crown from the Patriots, and now the Kansas City Chiefs are kind of running away with it as the program, the franchise in the NFL. So this is a huge game for them. And it's a big game for Press Taylor, right? We'll go right down the rundown. He's the last one. Press Taylor's debut. I put that in quotations because Doug EP said that he was calling plays in the second half last year. And if you remember the Jags, they were better in the second half. So I look forward to it. I feel like Press Taylor had a decent day. I think he needs to get his sea legs in there, and maybe that's the reason why Dougie P. It's the first time he's calling first half plays, right? The offense seemed a little sluggish. It found a groove, and then it seemed a little sluggish, kind of slept walk and dumb mistakes as well. The double fumble, I could talk about that all day. Bigsby, I know he's a rookie, but how are you just going to let someone take the ball away from your hands? whatever. But to go back to Press Taylor, I really feel that his game plan was good. Press might not have called the perfect play every time, and that was evident in 3 of 12 on third down. Right, you're not going to win any division. You might be able to sneak out of this division, but you're not going to win any playoff games. You're not going to win a Super Bowl. You're not going to be a very good team if you go 3 of 12 on third down every week. You're just not. You might be able to sneak by the Colts because they had a rookie quarterback and the team didn't have a ton of weapons, obviously, since running backs were getting hurt. And like I said, a rookie quarterback, no Jonathan Taylor. It just seemed like their offense wasn't the greatest. But the Jags defense showed up, and that's all that matters. But to go back to Press Taylor just needs to be able to find that consistency, get that offense looking like it was in the second quarter and periods throughout the second half. And if they can find that groove, this offense is very dangerous. Well, you have a generational talent. I said it last week. He's a generational talent at quarterback. You have one of the best wide receivers in the game with Calvin Ridley. I don't care if he had 600 days off. If you watch this game this weekend, you realize, yeah, he's pretty good. Zay Jones is evidence that a third receiver is so important. Christian Kirk will continue to grow. ETN with the touchdown, Bigsby with the touchdown, and Evan Engram, come on, the forgotten guy, except if you talk to Trevor. Trevor talks about Evan all the time. So, if you got a fantasy out there and you need a tight end, Evan Engram is one of them. That maybe you don't get Kelsey, maybe you don't get Kittle. Go get Engram because Trevor talks about him all the time. So you definitely have to pay attention. This team is loaded. If they figure out the offensive line issues, Press Taylor gets in that groove. Like I'm telling you, that second quarter, and maybe they were just force feeding Calvin Ridley, but that drive where Ridley catches 4 balls out of his 8 and the touchdown, that drive just seemed like everything they called was working. And that's what they got to do. And that's what Press Taylor needs to do in his second game as the full-time offensive coordinator. I think he had more influence than what Doug was trying to say. I think he's trying to cover for him a little bit because if it doesn't work out, he can say, well, it was his first time. We're learning. But I think Press has the trust of Doug and Trevor and the offense and the respect. And I think he's been influential the whole year last year and the one game this year. So I look forward to that growing, offensive line growing, Press Taylor play calling and critical moments growing. And I really would love to see the defensive line get a little bit more pressure without the help of Trayvon or Allen every single time to get there. I think they will get there. If I had to rank those 3 things from most confident that'll happen to least confident that'll happen, I think defensive line is number 1. I think they will get there. I'm not worried about them. For some reason, the Jags have always had decent defensive line play, and I think these 3-4 guys are going to figure it out. Number 2, Press Taylor. I think he's going to get better. He's been around Doug P forever. If he was calling the second half of games last year, they were the cardiac cats last year. So I think he just finds that groove, and you saw flashes of it. So that's probably number 2. And number 3 is the offensive line. I just feel like if this team is going to take it to the next level, they need to be able to control the offensive line on more consistency. And maybe it's the injury of Schreff, right? The Schreff throws it off, and Shatley's doing something different. Maybe it's not having Cam on the tackle. Maybe you got a rookie, Anton Harrison, at right tackle. Maybe it's simple as that. Maybe it's Barch coming back from a long injury, right? So I just feel that this offensive line will get better. But right now, on the confidence scale, out of those 3 things that I want them to do, I have least confidence in the offensive line. But we're ready for the Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, the standard, the team. If you listen to the press conferences, and we'll get into it more in the next episode, but if you listen to the press conference, you hear a little little bit more of a pep to the step in the conversations that are coming out of Jayville. And I'm excited for it. It's a 1:00 game, which is a shame because it should be on national TV. The bank will be packed, and Mahomes needs. I know Mahomes can't be on TV every single week on national TV, but they should have had this game on a Monday or a Sunday or a Thursday, preferably Sunday night. Collinsworth should be there with Tarico calling this game at the Everbank, but it is what it is. You got to take care of your dubs right now. Go 2-0. You go 2-0, and the Chiefs are 0-2, and you're chasing. And when the schedule came out, this was one of the games. So I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. And it's building up to it. It's really building up to that. This game is going to be for a lot, especially now that they're 0-1 and the Jags are 1-0. Because now you go 2-0 and the tiebreaker, and you're 2 games up with only 15 to go, and you still got to play the Titans twice, the Colts one more time, and the Texans one more time, and they got to go play the Raiders, who look somewhat improved, the Broncos, and of course the Chargers. Right? They got to go play that, and I know they've owned their divisions for a long time, but that's a big. They got to come catch up quite a bit. Never mind the other teams that are favorites in the AFC. They're all Cincinnati lost, right? Buffalo lost. So this is a big game for the Jags, even though it's week 2. But we'll get into it on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. This is 904 Prowl. Subscribe, man. I'm going to try to do some audio, just audio podcast during the week. Try to give you like a daily kind of Prowl. I love this team. This team is just different. It just has a different feeling than ever in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this is Brian Webster, signing off. Thank you for tuning in to 904 Prowl.